All right, welcome to another episode of Keto Rocks Radio. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or right is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damis Forsythe of Kix and Rhino Bucket, and we're glad to be back with you all again for 2 weeks in a row. After going on 89 straight weeks without missing a show, we're setting a new record. So 2 in a row, everybody. So Brian, how's things going?
Good so far today, anyway.
Yeah, I saw you posting yesterday that I had the electricity go out for 6 days, but I understand you've been without water for a couple days.
Oh, just one. Just
Just
well,
one?
not even a whole day. It sort of went off. God, I don't even remember because it was on when I got up yesterday, and then I got done my workout and I went to clean the litter box, and I usually do it outside with a hose, and the hose was just like this little trickle of water coming out, and I thought maybe there was ice in the hose because it's
Right.
been cold here. So I just didn't think much of it, and then I come up here to make coffee, and it was like I turned the faucet on, this like dribble, and I'm like, oh no. So yeah, it turned out that they were working on the street around the corner there. They've been working down there. I don't know what they're doing. There's an empty lot, and I know that my neighborhood has been fighting, trying to keep them from building stuff there, but I think they finally lost the fight, and it looks like they're going to be building something there. I don't know what it is. So anyway, they're tearing up the street, and I guess they had to turn our water off, and nobody let our street know.
So did you call the water authority and say, hey, my water's not coming out of my faucet? They go, oh yeah, we got you shut down.
Well, you know what? I did call, and the lady goes, well, let me see if there's any outages in your area. And she put me on hold, comes back, and she goes, oh, I don't see anything, but if, we'll send somebody out to check it out. It's like, I can't believe that she didn't know that they were working on the pipes down there. But so then, so I'm like sitting around here waiting for somebody to come out and check it out. I'm like getting hungrier and hungrier, and I didn't want to cook because I didn't want to make a big mess and not be able to clean it up. So I was like, well, I'm not going to wait be stuck in my house waiting if I don't even know what's going on. So so we took off to go get something to eat, and as soon as I turned that corner and I saw the trucks down there, I go, oh, that's what's going on. And then I stopped, and the water guy, he's like apologizing for not letting our street know. And anyway, they kind of dropped the ball there. They should have even gave us a warning.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Because I'm sure there was a lot of upset people, especially people who have to get up and take a shower and head off to work, and all of a sudden they don't have the ability to take a shower.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was weird because apparently nobody else called in. I was the only one. But that happened, that's happened since I've lived here. There was a couple times where electricity did go off here. Like early on, it used to go off on occasion, and I would call in to report it, and it would turn out that I was the only one that reported it. It's like nobody else seems to care. It's weird.
Wow. Okay. Well, I saw that you so how did you so you're starving, you have no water, so what did you end up doing?
Ah, the old Five Guys. Got
Ah,
myself a nice burger bowl. Well, it's cool. I love Five Guys because their regular burgers are actually double burgers. So I just get two bacon cheeseburgers in a bowl, so it's like four burgers.
yeah, that's Five Guys is definitely a great go-to, and it's amazing how different fresh hamburger, never frozen, tastes compared to frozen patties like we get at some other fast food
Yeah.
restaurant. It's a big difference. You wouldn't think of it, and every time I do that, I go, oh crap, all that meat I got in my freezer. I've done the same thing that I'm stealing from the taste of this meat by putting it in the freezer for longevity.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there is something about it. I mean, I don't even know if they even add anything to it. I think it's just burger on the griddle. Um, but yeah, I've gone to other places like we stopped at a, where were we? Somewhere on the road. Stopped at a Red Robin,
Oh
which,
yeah.
the last time I was at one of those, I wasn't eating meat, so I didn't even check out the burgers. But everybody always raves about their burgers. So I got one of those and without the bun, and it was just this little dried up disc. It was like flavorless. And it's like that's the whole thing with some of those places. The people think the burgers are so good, but it's just all that
It's the toppings, it's the condiments,
pile on
and
top of it.
and
Yeah.
honestly, what draws people to the Red Robin is the endless fries that you get. So they'll just keep feeding you fries and let you put that salt on those on that starch and let it turn to sugar. So you're just constantly, hungry.
Yeah.
Instead of that's the bad. The one thing that Red Robin did do for the carb people or the keto people was they also added that you can get unlimited broccoli, which is cool. So instead of doing fries, you can get broccoli, and it's unlimited as well. But I know Brian, you can't have broccoli, but
Well, even if you're on keto, how much of that can you eat before you go over your carb limit?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you eat one plate full of all that, you're done with anyway. I mean, I know back in the day when I just had the endless stomach, it was like, how many fries can I just keep eating, you know, and just doing myself harm, so paying the price for something I thought I was getting a bargain for. So which
Right.
which honestly, I was reading this. I was reading
Killing,
the. Go ahead,
kill.
Brian.
I was just going to make a comment. Killing yourself cheaply.
Yeah, killing myself cheaply. That's exactly it. So there's an article on the PE diet that I was going to kind of uh, address on tonight's show, is the birth of an epidemic, which they talk about, and we talk about this a lot, empty calories, and talking about the combination of sugar, flour, and oil.
Hmm.
And the reality of it is protein levels of what's in food have pretty much stayed the same since 1960, but fat and carbohydrates have greatly been increased and added into all foods across the board.
And
So
it's not the good fat either.
no. So he did an article on this, and I just thought it's a great thing because we always talk about animals in the wild and what would you do. So there's a perfect ratio to protein and energy, which is what the PE stands for. So protein and energy, and somewhere's in the middle is where your fitness target is. And he says, and I was going to read verbatim, he says, all free living animals on Earth have to combine foods in a complementary fashion in order to achieve optimum function. Nutritional ecology is the science that looks at what animals need to eat versus what they actually get to eat. Imagine that an animal has access to two foods, one that is higher in protein and one that is higher in energy. The animal is going to have a fitness target where it functions optimally and is best able to thrive and reproduce. The fitness target would be variable depending on the animal's activity level and a bunch of other factors. This animal will have to combine these two foods in a complementary fashion in order to get as close to its fitness target as possible. Now, imagine that the animal only has access to low protein, high energy food. This poor animal will have to make a choice. It could overeat energy in order to get enough protein, likely leading to obesity, or it could eat a normal amount of energy but insufficient protein, risking its ability to function properly. Not a great place to be, but that is where Americans find themselves in the current food environment. All species are somewhat different as to their rule of compromise or how they deal with suboptimal food environments. But in the case of humans, it is quite clear that we overeat energy in order to get enough protein every single time. So, you talk about people who go on those calorie counting diets, they're not getting enough protein in most cases to give them the energy.
Right. Well, the downfall there is most of the time they're just concentrating on the calories and not the content. You know.
Yeah. So if you can, you hear Brian all the time, and Brian started to educate himself about health and about how these different foods interact with one another, and and how are they good for you? Because as as we've said many times, especially Brian, no matter what item that's on the shelf, that's a food item, if you turn around and look at the ingredients, if it's not just like beef, like it's not, or even pork rinds for that matter, or even just plain pork rinds, which should have just pork rinds and salt, a lot of times we'll have 10 different uh, additives in there. Most of the additives are not going to be healthy to you. They're going to destroy your gut, which destroys your immune system, which destroys your health, which just costs you in this vigorous rat wheel of needing medicine to help you overcome whatever you may be experiencing, because the reality of it is you've destroyed your gut, which has destroyed the baseline of your health, because you have taken on the quick and easy of buying what's processed food is. They've just made it as easy for you as you can get.
Yeah, and there's a big price to pay for convenience.
Convenience shopping, yeah. So, hopefully everybody understands what the message we're constantly trying to get out is the fact that, if you can educate yourself, so you alone know what you're putting in your body and know what you should be putting in your body, and start to track how you're feeling after you are putting the good protein, less processed, less sugar in your body, you're going to start noticing a difference. And then you add that add intermittent fasting into the equation, and you're going to become a fat burning machine if you can at least do a 16-hour window before you eat your next meal. And I think if you can just put yourself, let that be a goal for you, I think you will start to notice subtle differences on how you feel. You definitely will be less inflamed. So, take notes. Like Brian talks, when he eats something that he knows is bad for him, or his rings doesn't come off, he swells up. And so that's a great indicator for Brian that, when that happens. And if you eat seed oil, go ahead,
Even
Brian.
well, even keto friendly things sometimes will do that to me. Like I very rarely, but occasionally I'll make like some kind of keto sweet thing, a cake or a cookie, and it has no sugar or flour or anything in it. But sometimes I don't know, maybe it's the artificial sweeteners. Occasionally I'll use the almond flour, which I don't know if I'm not sold on the almond flour thing. But yeah, I'll eat something like that should be fine, and the next morning I'll wake up and my joints are hurting. My hands are like, oh man, I can just feel it.
I think there's something to that, because I know if you have pets, especially dogs, you can that monk they eat that, it can be deadly to them. So if it's
Oh yeah,
deadly
yeah. There's a few of those artificial sweeteners that are really bad for dogs.
so if they're bad for dogs, I can't imagine that they're good for our gut system as well. I just can't believe they can be that good for us. They may not be as bad as pure sugar, but they're probably not as good as abstaining from sugar.
Yeah, I mean it's just it's all about the sensation you get when you eat it, I guess, and that's what people are after. But I try to, the longer I'm off of the sugar, the less I miss it. So it's like I get used to tasting other flavors, and I'm satisfied with those. I don't have to chase that sweet thing as much. I do, have a few relapses here and there, eat a sweet thing, but the longer I go without doing that, the less concerned I am with trying to chase that.
Right. No, I when I give in to those cravings, sometimes it becomes a bad habit for 2 or 3 days, and I literally have to sit there and just, I just have to
Yeah.
uh, to look myself in the mirror and say, what are you doing? And then kind of change what I'm doing. And I have to look at it differently. I have to look at everything differently. And then I'm able to get back on track, because, that's what happens to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I compare it to my whole like alcoholism thing. It's like with the sweets, if as soon as I have one sweet, then it just wakes up that monster, and that's what would happen if I had one drink. I would, you know, who knows I don't know what would happen. That's why I don't do it.
Right.
It's like, all options are whatever.
There is no options. They're off the table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so anything can happen. And that's same, I mean, you know, well, I'm even guilty of this, looking at like sweets and sugar as harmless compared to something like drugs and alcohol, but really it's not. It won't like wreck my life as far as like losing a job or ending up in jail or anything like that, but it'll wreak havoc on my health in the long term. And it throws me off my thing and causes this constant fight that I'd rather do without. Because it is.
Yeah.
Once I give into it, then I'm fighting it, and it's not a good feeling.
No, no. Well, anytime we give into an addiction, that addiction becomes our God. It controls us. And so, the whole goal in living a healthy lifestyle is for you to be in control. You're the one making decisions. You determine what's going to go in your mouth. But when we give in to that addiction, it feeds that addiction, and then it can spin us totally out of control. And it takes a while for us to regroup. And sometimes, whether it's alcohol, drugs, food, processed food, addiction is an addiction. Whatever becomes controlling of you controls you. And until you break free from that, that's why, people may say, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have any addictions, but more than likely you're probably a sugar addict or a processed food addict or a carbaholic. Most Americans are, and you're not even aware of it. Because, like Brian said, if you went to work for an employer and you showed up drunk, you're probably going to get a stern warning or even be fired. But if you showed up stuffed because you ate 12 hot donuts from Krispy Kreme donuts,
Yeah.
they're not going to say anything to you except that, hey, why did you bring some to work and share with us?
Right.
But the reality of it is, and this is the way I look at life now, you may just put yourself in a position to get sick the following week and miss 2 or 3 days of productivity at your employer, but they don't look at it that way. And most places of work literally encourages, snacking or celebrating special events with sugar products, whether it's a sheet cake from Costco or hot donuts or bagels. It's always something that's not good for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, it with the. I was gonna say, watch, I'm gonna lose my train of thought here. uh, yeah, for me personally, it's like, the addiction thing. It's not the substance, it's not the drugs or the alcohol or even the food, but it's the behavior behind it, and that's for me. It's like I get off one thing and then I go over to something else. So it's just sort of transfers around to different things. And if like early on when I was young, before I discovered drugs and alcohol, music was my addiction. But that was like actually a good addiction.
Yeah, that's a healthy addiction.
Yeah, I got obsessed with the guitar and if I can direct my addiction in some productive um, direction, then it's not a bad thing. But
Well, I would say that's a passion or a passion. And if you're passionate about something, whether it's, gardening, playing guitar, something that's not harming your body or harming
uh-huh.
yourself, you know, yeah, I just made the statement earlier that addiction becomes your God, but I would say that's just you. That's the gift of you playing out with a passion you have for a skill that most people don't have.
Well, yeah, it is also. Yeah, you're right. It's different than an addiction, but it's almost like part of that behavior that you're using in a positive way, but you're also combining it with your gift. That's what the passion is. You're being given this gift, and it's being woken up, you know.
Well, I would say, your gift, by you practicing your craft or practicing your gift, you're able to give that gift to the world and to share that in a positive manner. Now, if you use that gift as an excuse to do other things, then it is a gateway into other areas of your life. And now that gateway is controlling you. It's leading you to other addictions. But to look at it in a healthy manner, which is the way you're looking at it, you know, I say that's positive. It's a fine line. I mean, it's a really fine line of, how we look at it. But at the end of the day, it's how we look at it, nobody else. And so that's why, you
Mhm.
hear Brian's able to go into a room with other people who are consuming alcohol and know that he's not going to partake in that, because and that's where we all need to be. Whether, we need to be able to walk in a room if people are all eating French fries and dipping them in ketchup and then having cake afterwards. We have to walk in there and realize what they're doing, but we don't need to partake.
Yeah, well, that's where the education comes in, you know. Like when I went through recovery, you know, I learned about the disease of alcoholism and addiction, and you know, and I can recognize what that will do or where that will lead and all that stuff. You know, I learned all that stuff, and through experience too. You know, looking back,
Right.
so I can apply that same thing to the whole food thing. You know, I educate myself on what it does inside my body, but then I also educate myself. Well, I kind of apply that whole addiction thing to the food thing too, because it's all behaviors, and I can look back, you know, back when I used to eat all that stuff, and I know where it'll lead me, and so it all comes down to, you know, just being knowledgeable about what's going on and
Well,
educating.
yeah, I have a friend. I think I've mentioned it to you off the air, but I have a friend. She's been going through rehab and is in a recovery house. And, it's amazing because she says it's given her a chance. It's been a huge education to her. And when she goes back and looks at her life, she's understanding why she did certain things and why
Right.
she had certain habits. And it's really been eye-opening to her as to, why she was doing things and what triggered her, and to stay away from those environments that trigger her,
Mhm.
and knowing why she was triggered. And that goes for all of us, whether, matter, like Brian said, doesn't matter what the addiction is, no matter what the substance is. If you're addicted to something, you need to understand why you're addicted to it or what your triggers are. So,
Or
you're not.
at least be willing to look at it, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's where it all starts. You just have to be willing to look at your own behaviors and you know, be responsible for it.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is, if you're watching this program tonight and you're breathing, then you have a new opportunity. Everything that's happened from this moment behind you is behind you. Just leave it there. You have a new opportunity. Don't be bringing the past into your now and then go, oh, I can't believe I did that. And then, then you're going to want to turn to something else just to numb that feeling right now. No, listen, at the moment right now, it's a new beginning, clean slate. Utilize it. How do you want to see yourself in one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1 century? How do you view yourself? And start to spend time on you, and learning, about why you do certain things, because it's very helpful. I'm sure Brian could teach a college course on it with as many hours as he's put into, you know, being able to understand where his addictions came from. Right, Brian? I mean, you've got hours, I mean, probably years. Um,
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes I soak up all this stuff and then I can't seem to like access it when I need to share it. But it's in there somewhere.
well, it's definitely got to be in there because you live it out. So living it out is the greatest testimony of the knowledge that you've obtained. So I just say keep living it out. If you never even are able to share it verbally, I think you living it out is more powerful than anything.
Yeah, lead by example, I guess. Yeah, because I do
That's
get. I mean, that's how I get so many people asking me about my diet and all that stuff. Just because I'm getting old and I don't seem as old as I am. I don't. I don't. Sometimes I feel it when I first get up, but I don't feel as old as I am.
well, you
And
look.
that's the way I want it. I want to live. I want to live a long time, but I want to be able to live.
Well, living is key. I mean, you think about it. I was reading somebody quote the other day, but when you were a child, think about it. What did you want to do more than anything else? I mean, you just wanted to have fun. You wanted to probably hang out with your friends. Um, when you were 10 years old, 13 years old, Brian, what did you want to do? Hang out with your friends?
I wanted to. Yeah, play music actually. I was already into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean back when you're young, you have so much energy and I mean I used to go out, I'd leave the house, I don't know, sometime after breakfast, jump on my bike and I'd be gone all day. Or just running around in the fields and me and my brother, it's like yeah, we'd be out all day long until it was time to come back for dinner.
Yeah. I look back and that's how I was. I mean, literally I had to be my mom or dad would have to yell, "It's time to come in. We're gonna eat dinner."
Right.
And then
And then
I
I
could eat dinner. I could eat dinner fast enough to get right back out there because I don't want to miss any time with my friends.
Yeah, me too. And then yeah, it would be getting dark and they'd be calling me back in again. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, they go, Jimmy, it's time to go in. It's time to go to bed. I was like, do I have to? You know, but nowadays you don't see kids playing out there like we used to because we didn't have the computer or the cell phone or the gaming systems that they have now. I mean, most kids stay behind the screen and are living out a virtual world, and it's just it's the era that we're in. I'm just thankful for me that I didn't have that temptation growing up. I mean, I look back fondly on my younger years and playing outside all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't have as much energy as I used to, but hopefully when I get old, I'll still be able to enjoy, you know, activities.
Yeah. Well, I remember I attended this course called. It was a guy from Success Magazine. I attended this breakfast business launching. It was probably 10 years ago. Not even longer than that. Probably was. But I remember the guy was speaking. He really caught my attention. He says, most people believe that you have to work Monday through Friday, 40 plus hours every week, and then at age 65 you can retire and start to enjoy life. That's normally how we've been raised in this country. He says, but I want to open your mind to the Jimmy Buffett model. He says, why can't you just work your schedules on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and then 4 days a week go out there and enjoy life, live it, be a kid, go exploring, go do whatever you do that brings you energy. But work those 3 hours, plug as many appointments you can in those 3 days, not 3 hours, those 3 days, those Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and get as much done as you can for your job or for your company. But then enjoy the rest of the week, and just know that when you work a hard day, the next day you're going to be able to do whatever you want to go do. And I never forgot that. I never
Hmm.
forgot that. Now, have I been able to implement it how I would like to? No, because life is life and it's unpredictable. But for the most part, I do try to live that lifestyle. I do try to make a choice over spending time with Peggy or friends and having fun, or going fishing or boating, or doing things that recharges me, as opposed to just being a workaholic. And because at that point, when I heard that, I was a workaholic. I mean, we worked 6 days a week. We were in the office first thing and last ones to leave, and it was draining, to be honest with you. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I heard a little snippet on. I was scrolling through Instagram and I may have been like a Joe Rogan post but it was like the it was him and Jordan Peterson having this
Oh yeah.
little, just a quick little snippet, and that was the subject. It was how most, the American dream, you work hard like just your whole life, like with hardly any time. You're working towards that retirement, like that's the end goal, and then you get there, and Jordan Peterson was talking about that. So then you go to Key West and you sit on a beach and you order your margarita, and that's the goal, is just to sit there on the beach drinking margaritas. And he goes, well, how many margaritas can you drink? You get to number 10, and then what? And it's like, and then the next day you go back and do the same thing. It's like, how long is that going to last? And it's like, I hear that. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, retirement, I never did understand retirement. Retirement was, I always heard that as a kid, especially growing up, and my grandparents. And I always heard, when you turn 65, that's when you can retire. That's when you get your Social Security. And then, then you start piddling around the house. And I observed growing up at how it appeared that most people who were married, who retired, then they they wanted to get one spouse out of the house or the other, because they just couldn't coexist together with nothing to do. So it really does, like you said, how many margaritas and how many hours are you going to sit on the beach, and what's next? And I think most people would agree that you always have to have some type of endeavor, some type of hobby that you wake up to, wanting to go do, wanting to donate your time to, whether it's helping at a soup kitchen, um, being a library assistant, or helping out at the dog pound, or a candy striper at the hospital. I know Peggy's mom, she worked at the hospital front desk till she was 80, I want to say 84 years old. I think she did 30 years of just donating her volunteer work at the and she loved it, because it gave her interaction. She fed off of relationships and new people. So being at the front desk and greeting someone walking through, and getting to know their name, we call her the original Google. We call her mom, but it stood for Mouth of Manassas, because she knew everyone and everyone knew her. But you need those type of things to motivate you, to give you a reason to get up in the morning. And so,
Well,
go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, that whole mentality of working just nonstop and then aiming for that retirement. But it's kind of comes back to what you said earlier, that Jimmy Buffett thing. You don't have to like set that to some way future, because you may not even get there. So you might as well just intersperse because that's what it is. Most people have to work at a job they don't really enjoy, so they just sort of put up with it and look forward to the day they don't have to do it anymore. But if you give yourself a little spurts of time in between where you can enjoy yourself while you can't, while life is still enjoyable, that's really the way to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree, because if you're able to go to the beach, go body surfing, enjoy a physical activity, then go out there and enjoy it. Go out there and do it while you can, because it's depressing to me when I hear people saying, oh yeah, looking forward to retire at age 65, and then what? It's like almost subconsciously you've said, all right, this is my life ends at 65. I'm retiring from life, when the reality of it is, we want to live a life. And so use every moment in the now to live life to the fullest, because you want no regrets, when you get to 65 and go, oh man, I never got a chance to go do that, I should have done that. Because there could be some things, as healthy as you are, that you're just not going to be able to do.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm still guilty of not living my life to the fullest every single day. It's like I let myself slide a lot, but I'm blessed with, my job is something I love. So it's not really I mean, it is a job, but it's fun. So
Yeah.
I lucked out.
No, and when you can find, like, I enjoy doing, what Peggy and I do, and with our companies, I enjoy helping people, assist them, whether it's buying a house or helping reduce their electric bill. I just enjoy helping people, and I love doing that. I don't think I could ever retire from that. Like, that's just who I am. And
Yeah, same with
so,
me.
yeah, so I mean, just like you, I mean, hopefully Kix is going to play way, to another 20 years. Um,
Well, yeah, or even if it isn't kicks, I mean, I'm gonna keep playing with
yeah,
somebody.
yeah. And so, but here's the thing. You took advantage of those opportunities as you've grown, Brian. I mean, you were in Kix, you're in Rhino Buck, you do some other projects. You've been able to use your talents and just not put them in one hole. You've spread them out some, and guitar is your skill, it's your gift, and you get a chance to share it with whoever you want to share it with. And and luckily for the fans of your guitar playing, we get a chance to be the benefactors of your playing. So yeah, keep playing. I think music is one of those vibrational energies that just keeps all of us younger.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
All right, is that time of the evening where we get a chance to check in with Mr. Brian Shanker of the MeatTribe YouTube channel for those meat deals of the week. So, Brian, how's it going, and what do you have for all of us?
Everything's going pretty good. So today's update is going to be everything's under $10. So
Woo!
everything I'm telling
Now
you
you're
about
talking my language. I welcome that kind of talk.
yes, everything's under $10. I've got 5 stores that all these deals are coming from. So first up, the Carnes Quality Foods in Central PA. Their deals run through January 24th. They have some choice grade boneless whole New York strip cuts for $6.49 a pound. And if you don't want to or can't afford to buy the whole cut of meat of the New York strips, they've got some packages, choice grade boneless New York strip steaks at $9.99 per pound. So both of those deals under $10. Next up, Food Lion. Their deals run through the 25th. Choice grade boneless top round London broil for $3.99 per pound, and some choice grade boneless ribeye steaks for $9.99 a pound. We're back on the ribeye trail.
Well, I just got through reading somebody who I follow. He takes that $3.99 cut that you just talked about, and he will sous vide it for 31 hours, and he says it comes out so tender you can cut it with a butter knife.
Wow! So he takes the London broil, a big hunk of meat,
and sous vide it for 31 hours, and he says it comes out so. He said, your cheaper cuts of meats, especially as much as meat's costing these days, if you sous vide them to break them down, they can be just as tender as your most expensive cuts.
Wow. Now I'm new to the whole sous vide thing. I thought if you sous vide something for longer than 4 hours, depending on the size of the cut, that it changes the texture of the meat. Is that true?
No, that's the thing that's the cool thing about the sous vide is it only takes it up to the temperature. It won't overcook anything. So it'll just hold it at that temperature like forever.
Okay. I read somewhere or I saw a video where somebody was like, if you even though it does that, but if you do it for too long, that it changes the texture of it. I'll see if I can find that video and I'll text it to you guys. But in either case, that's a long time to wait. 31 hours.
That's just planning. I mean, you just do it at lunchtime, the day before, and say, okay, my eating window is 1 and 4 tomorrow, and I'll have it ready to go. So
right.
So
cool.
Anyway, it didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to, since we're
okay.
talking cheap, I just wanted to sit there and stretch the cheap out a little bit further.
No, that's okay. Thank you for that information, because every week there's a lot of roasts that are on sale for really cheap. London broils and top rounds, eye of round, all that stuff has been really, really cheap. Cheaper than they've all been cheaper than the chuck roasts. Right. So if you're very budget conscious, like I am, you might want to get one of those cheaper cuts of meat. And I've been staying away from them just for that fact that they are probably not going to be as tender. And that's why I've been sticking with chuck roasts as far as roasts go. So I may have to visit Food Lion and grab one of those London broils and sous vide them for more than 24 hours and see how it comes out.
Well, I'm definitely going to experiment. So I haven't done it myself, but I'm going to. So we'll exchange notes.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Harris Teeter is back on the ribeye front. So
God
their
bless
deal,
them.
I know. Their deals run through the 25th of January, and they've got rancher grade boneless ribeye steak value pack at $7.99 per pound, and the rancher boneless ribeye small pack for $8.49 a pound. So I mean, I'm going to buy the value pack every time because you get I think at least 3 steaks in there versus the small pack. Save myself $1.50 there. They've also got some choice grade ribeye, boneless ribeye steak or roast for $9.99 a pound. And then the last deal that they've got at Harris Teeter is a boneless Strauss grass-fed New York strip steak. It's a 10-ounce steak, single steak per package, and per package cost is $9.99 per pound. But I'm glad Harris Teeter has got back on the boneless ribeyes because I kind of prefer the boneless ribeyes, although if I did get the bone in, I'd save the bones to make some beef broth next. But I missed out on all those bone-in ribeyes that they had and rib roasts. So now they've got my favorite, the boneless ribeyes. I'm happy about that.
Good. I am too, by the way.
Now I'm a little bit concerned because the Harris Teeter, I told you guys that the Harris Teeter that I go to, their meat cases were really low on stock. Like they didn't have anything good for a whole weekend in a row. So I'm going to have to give them a chance and go back there and see about these ribeyes for sure. All right. Next up, we've got some from Kroger, Brian. I don't know if you're going to, you probably won't get these, but their deal runs through the 25th. They've got some choice grade boneless half strip loins for $6.99 a pound and some choice grade boneless strip steaks in a family pack for $9.99 a pound. And then,
what is a strip loin? I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's part of like a New York strip. I think, you know, these stores take liberty at what they call things, but anytime I hear a strip in something, I'm thinking it's got to be a New York strip.
Yeah, it's probably related in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, or I don't know, because then the tenderloin, you know, on the porterhouse, the tenderloin is the other side. So they're calling it the strip, which is one side, and then the loin, which is the other side. So who knows? Who knows? I'll see if I can find out.
We need to get a butcher on here as a guest so he can go over the different cuts of meat with us.
Yeah, there you go.
I can work on that. I know someone.
Do you? Perfect. We'll let you set that up for next week then, Brian. That'd be awesome.
Okay, I'll check into it. I'll text you offline.
Sure.
And then so the last deal, Giant Eagle, last couple of deals, Giant Eagle, their deals run through the 26th, and their deals don't start until tomorrow. All the other ones start on either the 18th or the 19th. So the 20th through the 26th for Giant Eagle. They've got some boneless Market District chuck shoulder roasts or value pack steaks for $3.99 a pound, and some and those are certified Angus beef. And they've also got some certified Angus beef bone-in Market District New York strip steak value packs at $9.99 a pound. So although we're seeing meat prices going up everywhere, sorry, no ground beef under. I only want to report ground beef if it's like $1.99 or $2.99. Anything above that, I'm holding out. But you can see from all these deals, you can find a lot of stuff out there for $9.99 for $10 or less.
Well,
yeah.
Sounds like there's a lot out there for people to go out there and stock up and save some money. So, Brian, thanks so much for sharing those deals of the week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Friday.
Sounds good, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah.
But another thing that can keep you younger is if you've made it to this far in the show and you're like, okay, well, what can I do? Brian's about ready to give you a bit of advice to tell you the best thing that you could do to start taking the first step down that road to new health. And what would that be, Brian?
I would say eat your meat.
There you go. All right, what gigs do you have next? Is it still just the Monster Rock pre-party with Rhino Bucket, and then Kix and Rhino Bucket on the Monster Rock cruise?
Yep, that's the next one.
Awesome. All right. Is there tickets left? Can people still sign up for the cruise? You know?
Yes, because I've been hearing indirectly that there are some people that have decided not to go, so they're selling their cabins for like a third of the price. So you can get really good deals right now from people trying to sell their cabins.
Well, there you go, people. Take advantage of it. You want to go take a cruise and hear some awesome music during the whole time, then find yourself a discounted Monster Rock room. And for everybody else, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Friday. Stay safe, stay well, and stay out of that hospital.
See ya.
See ya.